My name is Jeff Gosnear, and I am the president of Grotto Pizza. I am here to answer 7 questions. I don't remember anything, so I use notes for almost everything. To start out, what have you not done yet that you would like to be part of your story or included in your eulogy? And as you've probably heard before, many people, let's hope the eulogy is a long time away. I am the second person to ever be at the helm of Grotto Pizza. We're a 64-year-old company, so that's a pretty long time to fall in the footsteps of the founder, Dominic Polari. He built a great organization in what he has, and my goal is to continue that. My goal is to take it from what we have as I'll say a small regional company. We are in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, mostly in Delaware, as most of you know, and bring it into a national company. My goal is over the next 10 years to bring this to 100 locations that we have, and I think that we can do it. We have a great product. People either love it or hate it, but let's hope most of you love it. We have a great product. We also have a great infrastructure and great staff, and what we want to do is, my goal is to be able to give opportunity to so many of the people that are with us now into paths forward in the hospitality industry. We're in an industry that definitely does not usually have a lot of upward momentum because a lot of things it's a pyramid, but the pyramid gets very, very tiny as we keep going forward. And the only way to offer opportunity to our employees and a lot of our long-term people is by growth. And so that is what I am hoping to do that I have not done yet. On a personal side of that, there's one other thing that I do want to do. Very selfishly and personally, I want to sail the Great Loop. I'm hoping to do that at some point in time when I'm done. The Great Loop, if you don't know, is it's a trek, a 6,000-mile sailing trek through this country. You go up through the Hudson, through the Great Lakes, come down through the Mississippi, back down to Louisiana, around Florida, and back up. To do it, though, it will be a big feat for me to do it for several reasons. One, because it's a pretty big lift to do that, to do a 6,000-mile trek on a boat. The second is that I would be doing it with my wife, and for 2 of us to be on a 35-foot boat together for 6 months, God bless. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but I think that it would be something wonderful to be able to do. Okay. My second one, how has failure or apparent failure set you up later for success? And do you have a favorite failure? Well, the first thing I will tell you is, I'm in the restaurant industry. We have lots of failures. Hopefully I don't have many of our bankers here, but we really do. 1 in 3 restaurants fail in the first year. And so it's riddled with failure, but hopefully you learn from each one of them. Mine's more personal. Prior to Grotto Pizza, so about 25 years ago, I owned a fairly successful restaurant in Philadelphia. It was a restaurant and piano bar. And when I decided to go to Grotto Pizza, I had an operating partner in there who didn't want to buy the restaurant from me, wanted me to still stay on as kind of an advisor, which I did. Unfortunately, without me there, he had some fairly big substance abuse problems that I didn't recognize while I was working with him on a daily basis until I then started to come back and see, okay, things were not great. And within 6 months of a pretty successful restaurant, our restaurant really started to go downhill. And I was 2 hours away and really couldn't do much except watch the decline. Within a year, we had to close, which was, as I said, a pretty successful restaurant prior to that. I did learn from that. I learned a couple different things. One is, watch who you get in bed with, and people change very quickly. But the second thing, and I never will let it happen again, is I wanted to make sure that I'm always a step ahead when there's a problem. It's very important for me to have 3 different outcomes and 3 different paths that I can take when I know a problem will be presented. And to that, I do that with almost everything in my business life and personal life now, and I make sure that that will never happen again. I always want to have some alternative paths to be able to follow when some adversity comes out. All right. In the last 5 years, what belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? Well, I have to start by telling you I've been married 31 years. And again, God bless my wife. I'm not necessarily the easiest person to live with on a lot of times. But a few years ago, there's always stress in everyone's life. You have stress with children. You have stress with work. There's always something going on. And it frankly got to a point where I was kind of a bear to live with. My wife kept saying, you need to figure out something. You need to figure out how to relieve some of the stress without making it relieved on your family, which was how I always relieve stress, which I shouldn't have done. So one day she comes and she says, we're going to try something. And I said, okay. She goes, we're going to do a 20-second hug. I said, oh, well, we hug all the time. She goes, no, we're going to do a 20-second hug at minimum. And I was like, okay, it's a long time. 20 seconds is a long time. It really is. I mean, first time I did it, 5 seconds later, I'm giving a hug, and there 5 seconds later, I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? So then I'm sitting there doing it, and I'm looking at my watch, and I'm timing it, and I'm going, okay, we're at 16, 17, 18, 20, going off. Then all of a sudden, it got to a point where, okay, we needed it. She needed it, I needed it. It was almost a physiological change that happened. Your breathing started to get better. You started to get much more, the stress just started to come away. And it was by having the partner that each of us chose in life to be there to help either one of us with that. And so it was a habit that we do very often. And it's something that really transformed relationship and our outlook, the way that we look at everything. It turned out to be probably the best thing that we could have ever done, as I said, both business and personal. So that was my habit and behavior that we changed, which was very good. Really put things into perspective. Okay. Number 4, what activities make you lose track of time? I'm a professional putterer. I can sit at a workbench and build something, play with something, clean something for hours and hours on end. I can work around, we have a home down on the Eastern Shore, which I love to go to and do nothing but sit on a tractor and cut grass and fix our dock and do all little projects around there. But when I did it and why I do it, the best part of it is I have a very, which I've been told is an annoying habit, of humming. I'll hum or I will whistle, and it's usually a song that I make up in my head. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just something that entertains Jeff for an hour or two. But it's really annoying when other people are around. They get very, very annoyed when they have to sit there and listen to me whistle or hum for an hour with something that they have no idea what it is. It's by design. I don't want anyone around. I want to be on my own. I want to keep everybody back and away. And for me, by doing that, I do get to lose track of time. I get to be in Jeffland for a little while, and I get to enjoy what I want to do and really not have to think. But when I'm done, I have produced something. Because the last thing I hate being idle and at the end of the day saying, well, what did I do today? What happened? So I get to have both there. I get to be on my own. I get to have a little bit of free time, my own space. But when I'm done, I've done something. I either cleaned a garage, I built a flower pot, I did something. Hopefully they all last. I mean, some of my projects, I'm not the most handy person, but it is something that I enjoy. I get to lose track of time doing it. And usually when I'm done, it really is something that is a big thing, a big goal at the end of the day. I do. I enjoy it very much. Okay. Excuse me. All right. What book do you most often recommend, and how has that book influenced you? All right, truth be told, I don't read a lot. I never have. I've never enjoyed it. I enjoy reading things like newspapers. I enjoy reading magazines. But I'm I can't say that I necessarily, I look at novels and I go, wow, that's a big book. And that's going to take me a really long time to get through. Do I have that commitment? Best thing that ever happened to me was Audible. Audible changed my life probably 7, 8 years ago. I all of a sudden went and said, okay, well, you know what? I'm in a car a lot. I mean, we have restaurants all over the place, so I get to go up and down this state a lot. And also in Maryland and in Pennsylvania. So I said, oh, let me try an Audible book. And I have. And I am a prolific listener of books, not a reader of books. And so I would tell you I've never made a recommendation of a book until today. So I am going to recommend a book. I'm going to recommend a book by Ron Churchill. It's on George Washington. But again, Audible's a really good way because the book's like that thick. My wife bought the book and she read the book. And I looked at it and said, I listened to that? I mean, it was like, I think it was 28 hours of a book to listen to, but it was well worth it. And, you know, one of the things that I really got out of that, I mean, you know, obviously George Washington was a spectacular leader. I mean, he, you know, general, president, I mean, everything that he did, he was great at being a leader. A very humble person in a lot of ways, but in other ways not. What I did learn from that book, though, was that even as a great leader, he had lots of flaws. A lot of flaws that he had. A lot of character flaws, a lot of just, there was a lot of things. You know, big spender on things. And one of the things that I got out of that is that you can still be a great leader by having flaws. And, you know, no one needs to be perfect. And you really saw that you imagined it, I should say, in that book. As you read the book, you really appreciated that. And I appreciated that, that part of his leadership and him as a person. So I would definitely recommend that book if you have, you know, a week, 2 weeks to, you know, sit around and read. It's there for it. Or as I said, Audible's always great to do that. All right. So what have you purchased or given in the last year valued at under $200 that has most positively impacted your life? Oh, my wife... there's always a common theme. Usually she's the one setting me on the straight and narrow. My wife, last year, bought me these notebooks for Christmas. They're called WTF notebooks. You know, and they have like great sayings on the front of them. One of them was, great ideas I have while I'm drinking bourbon. Another one, this is one I have right now, shit I have to write down because I'm old. And, you know, so there's these really, you know, so it kind of got me looking at that and I said, okay, you know, there's a little truth to this. I mean, you know, as we age, you know, I always said I had memory like a steel trap, but the trap doesn't open as easy as it used to. So I take a lot of stuff in, but, you know, I might not have it there. So I started the practice of, and a friend of mine, I saw him do this, and then my wife, it just all came together at one point in time. And I started writing down every time I have a meeting, every time I have a to-do thing to do, every time I have a good thought, I write it in a notebook. I have this notebook. I have a notebook with me almost all the time. And so I make sure to go through it, write it all down, and at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, depending on what's going on, I digest what I did. I look at it and say, okay, now I got to do this from that. And I don't forget it. So what was happening before is, you know, constantly people are asking me questions. Oh, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And what was happening is I would say yes, no, but I wouldn't have it written down. And so sometimes, you know, people are not always forthright. And, you know, you tell them to do something or you agree on something, but it's not what they wanted. So they keep doing what they want and say, well, that's what you said to do. And I'm like, And so then I started doubting myself until I started writing it down and going, wait a minute, no, that's not what I said. This is what I said. And I would write it down on a piece of paper and have it in a notebook. Part of it is categorizing the notebooks. That's another important thing. It's great to write everything down, but sometimes I go, oh, okay, what notebook did I put that in? Where is that? So you almost have to have a notebook about notebooks. But it does work. It really, it's been something that definitely has changed my life. It's made me, I will say, more organized, which I hope that I have come from that. And I hope that the people who are around me see that and appreciate that. That was definitely, it's been a big impact. It's been, it's a way to face that, you're starting to get a little bit older and maybe forgetting some things and keeping things straight, but it's also a great business tool. So I would definitely, and as you can see, I use it all the time when I'm doing something for it. All right, and then my last question. If you could broadcast a message to everyone in the world, knowing it would be received and remembered, what would it be? That's a tough one. I was going back through this and I was trying to think, and I go back to, I'm the youngest of 5 from a very loud family. And I'm much younger than my siblings, so if I wanted something, I just talked louder than everybody else. And I just, I would kind of, just run over everybody. And what happened is I started doing that in my business life also. So I would ask somebody a question, and before they could finish the sentence, I'm telling them what they did wrong or how to correct it. And so I never listened to anything. I just did what I thought needed to be done. It took me a while, and it took me some, I'll say with age comes a little wisdom, hopefully. And what I started to do is to listen more than talk. And it's something that profoundly changed how I look at people and how I look at myself. And I think it's something, when you're listening, it's not just the words though. When you listen, I tell people all the time, listen to what the body is saying. Listen, but listen with your eyes. Look at their movement. Look at what they're saying. Look at the tone, or listen to the tone of their voice. Actively listen it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to do that. And it's something that everybody needs to do a little bit more. And I would tell you to listen with your mind, listen with your heart, listen with your soul to everything that people are saying. And it definitely will be something that over time you'll see that it's a gift when you can do that. It really is. And so on that note, I thank you. I thank you very much. And I want to also thank Grit Talk. Thank you, Bill. And thank all the sponsors for everything.